Hey, Steph, how's the ankle holding up overall, and what was key in still playing through it?
Say what?
How's the ankle, and what was key in still playing through that, at least tonight?
Oh, it's fine. I mean, stuff happens. Just anytime, obviously, with me and ankles, it's kind of a little different kind of conversation, but I'm feeling good, ready for Sunday.
Steph, Ann Killian, San Francisco Chronicle. Speaking of Sunday, how do you handle the turnaround? You guys, this is the longest you've been pushed in a first-round series. And does your familiarity with Houston help?
Definitely helps, but we're not that old. Quick turnarounds, we should be all right. Obviously it was not ideal in terms of what opportunity we had after game or during Game 5, but came down here, took care of business. Like you said, we have a pretty good sense of what Houston likes to do. There'll be subtle nuances we'll have to adjust to, but like the momentum we created tonight, and hopefully that'll carry over to Sunday with our defensive effort. Obviously what KD did tonight was unbelievable. He's in a groove right now. And usually the best thing for a guy playing like that is just keep playing. So take care of our bodies tomorrow, have an opportunity to look at some film and talk about some of it, the game plan going into the series, and then just play hard on Sunday, try to get off on a good foot.
Hey, Steph. The Clippers, they played you guys tough. Took you to 6. Landry Shamet was on your hip all series. What kind of can you guys take from this series into Houston? The intensity was raised. How can you guys really go forth and just take care of business?
Honestly, this 6 games felt like it was 2 months in terms of all the different adjustments and emotional roller coaster from Game 2, their comeback to losing Game 5 and how we've bounced back in between. So tested us. They played amazing. Really made us, have to raise our level of play. And tonight we did that. So we talk about it all the time. Like every playoff series, in order to win, whether it's a sweep, whether it's in 5, 6, or 7, it's tough. And every game is hard. And we needed that test, to understand what it's going to be like the rest of the way. So I like the way that we responded when it was necessary. And for us, the biggest lesson is obviously try to take care of home court better than we have. And, our defense usually, wins games for us. Games 2 and 5, we were terrible on the defensive end and we lost. The rest of them we were solid and made them work and we won. So it's pretty simple at that point.
Hey, Steph, Chris, Fantasy Sports Game. You mentioned defense being key. Going in against Houston, do you guys think that you guys will be more focused on trying to slow them down, or you guys just think it's going to be a fast-paced three-point shootout the entire series?
I mean, we know how they play. They shoot a lot of threes, but a lot of their playmaking is through James and CP. So they're amazingly talented offensive players, very savvy. Their gamesmanship is at a high level. So all those things we've experienced before, and we'll be ready for it. At the end of the day, got to make them work, make them take tough shots, whether they make or miss. Make them defend on the other end, and very similar to this series, I think every game is going to be a full 48 of focus, and it's going to be fun.
Steph, Michael Duarte, NBC over here. We talked about it after Game 4, just the record of wins in the playoffs on the road. You guys win all 3 here, 6 straight dating back to last season. What is it about you and your team going into a hostile environment that just gets yourself up to play?
I think we just thrive in those situations in terms of understanding, we have the talent and the experience and the composure to play on the road. And at the end of the day, that atmosphere we kind of live for. It's weird the way that we played in this series, home versus away. But at the end of the day, we did what we needed to do. So we want to play better at home, continue the level of play that we do on the road, and from there, set ourselves up for success in this next round. So I don't know. That's my best answer for it.
Hey, Kareth Burke, NBC Sports Bay Area. It looked like the communication was really good tonight, even to a degree where you guys were hyping each other up. I think it was at halftime that you and KD were talking. Do you remember what you said to him when he had those 38 points, and just how were you guys cohesive tonight in communicating?
I think just hammering down on what our intentions and were coming into this game, knowing how well K's been playing, trying to get him in spots that he can, take advantage of their defense in certain matchups. But the pace that we were playing and kind of the balance of everybody getting involved, he was dominant all night. But when he didn't have the ball in his hands, I was coming off pick and rolls. Draymond was making plays. Clay was a threat. Andre was finishing at the rim. And then that all was kind of sparked by our defensive effort and being on the same page. So at the end of the day, body language was great. Energy was great from the start. And we got out of our own way a little bit. And that was a key of, for our success tonight. And it's fun. So you got to hype each other up for sure.
Hey, Steph, over here. How do you feel personally about the strategy of guarding Harden strictly to his left? We've seen the Jazz do it. We've seen the Bucks do it. How do you feel about that strategy?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's not how we've played traditionally, but he's had an unbelievable year, so everybody's trying everything at this point. But for us, we have solid defensive principles that we rely on and had some success last year in the playoffs. But, again, everything's on the table in terms of just winning a playoff series against that team, no matter what it takes. So we'll talk about all that stuff tomorrow. At the end of the day, for us, it's just about being physical, having great energy, being on the same page, all 5 guys out there on the floor, and having confidence on that end of the floor. No matter, again, if he makes or misses, just try to make it tough on him.
Hey, Steph, Cameron Buford, LA News Observer. You and Chris Paul have interesting history together, pretty competitive battles that you've had. What is it about him that gets the best out of you or that brings the best out of you?
He's an amazing player, and that's what amazing players do. They raise your level of play. I mean, from the time I got in the league, he was a guy at that position that kind of set the pace, and he's still playing at a high level. So we obviously go back to North Carolina days, and before I got in the league, was following him around, working out with him, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's this level of respect in terms of what he's capable of. But that intensity and that competition is great, and kind of thrive in those opportunities. And it's going to be another opportunity, this next series to leave it out there on the floor.
Steph, you said you're not that old yet, right, with this quick turnaround. This is the year 5 of a really long run where every single year, what's the fatigue level for you guys just day in and day out in this playoff grind right now?
I think I made a joke, this first round felt like it was 2 months, but that was kind of just the emotional part of it and the adjustments you had to make from game to game, obviously losing Boogie early and losing a 31-point lead and trying to come back on the road and, the mental investment you have to put into it. Physically, I think we feel great as a team, and shouldn't be any excuses there. But for us, we got to really rely on the experience in terms of being able to flip the switch from one team to the next, and that'll be the biggest test. But in terms of our energy and the physical presence and being able to play a 12:30 game on Sunday, we should be fine.